Welcome to Pull the Pin Radio, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions on the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions.
But we promise we're going to enjoy giving them to you.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike. Let's pull the pin.
Pull that pin. But you know what? Somebody already knows we're pulling the pin.
Who's that?
The government. Oh, can I whisper? Whispering's in right now, isn't it?
Yeah, you can whisper it, but they still hear you. Anyway, I will say this. Why do you say that?
Well, first of all, let's be honest. We're volunteering a ton of information being stored on servers. Yep. But the most recent thing, whether you believe it or not, I think involving Tucker Carlson, famous Fox host, just came out and said something that an insider, somebody in the NSA, contacted him. I guess they call them whistleblowers, stating exactly what was in his email, which he obviously had in front of him, that only Tucker and the person receiving the email knew. So clearly this NSA guy was reading an email that only Tucker and the other recipient were supposed to know.
So, the recipient of Tucker Carlson's email was not this NSA person.
Correct. It was an NSA person, insider, saying they had his email. So obviously, since Tucker's on Fox, and I guess what baffles me, I mean, we could talk about the media again, because that's really what it's going to come down to anyways. It's the government, the media, but it's the media was instantly against Tucker. Like, who in this room, who in the audience, just somebody please comment, who trusts the government? Oh, yeah, Mike trusts the government. Of course he does. And he's obviously lying. So is the NSA spying?
Isn't that what they do?
Right, but do they have the right to do that?
Yeah, they're the NSA, the government.
So it's just that simple? Carte blanche?
Patriot Act.
Reason? Well, okay, fair enough. But obviously, even still with the Patriot Act, they have to come up with a reason. It's got to be some threat to the country or potential threat.
Absolutely. And I'm sure if they are investigating Tucker Carlson, I'm sure everything will come up to the surface.
Right. It's interesting. There was I don't remember the lady's name. Well, first of all, we'll talk about the response. The NSA posted a response, and I wish I had it to read it, but maybe I could find it while you talk about something about why our government would even be spying. I can find the...
Well, I mean, it's just like any other organization that deals with investigation. I'm sure they had a tip. They did... Hold on a minute. Oh, no, we're good. They had a tip. They researched or they started to investigate it. I don't see what the problem is. It's one of those things. It's Fox News, you said, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure, if I remember correctly, Tucker Carlson, I don't know, I wasn't into him back then, but I think he supported the Patriot Act. Right? So government has a right to listen in, and if they hear something, see something, or whatever, then they can investigate you. Plain and simple. If you're not one of those things, if you're not doing anything wrong, what are you worried about?
So from what I understand, the NSA is supposed to be national security. It's supposed to be from threats outside of the country. So, which is why what the problem is they're the ones that's supposed to investigate foreign national things like that. And from what it was explained to me was this is how they do it. This is how they have what they call it, a two-hop thing they call it. So let's just say let's just say the intent is to investigate Tucker. Say it's corruption to the 100th degree. They want to investigate Tucker, but the rules prohibited them from doing it because there's a Fourth Amendment here, and you have to actually get a warrant to tap on anything in Tucker, right?
Okay.
So the way around that is to wait for Tucker to talk to someone outside of the U.S., and then they can go and open up investigation on that person, and from then, they're allowed to contact or spy on anyone connected to that person and one more beyond. So in other words, if they want to, that's what it is. And that's what's within their regulations. That's what's in their rights to do so. So if Tucker went and talked to somebody outside the U.S., they can listen to his stuff And if they happen to encounter an email from Tucker or anybody, even you, even if Mike James sent them an email, now they can listen and watch all of your stuff.
Got it.
And they even said they can even go one step further, everyone you talk to.
Right.
So that's what we have given the NSA the rights to do.
And you have an issue with that?
I do, of course. Yeah.
And why? Is it because it's Tucker Carlson or?
No, because it's Mike James.
Oh.
Because you're going to be sending emails to me, and I don't want anybody to see what I'm sending you.
Yeah, you don't want anybody to know about those emails.
And you see, I think it's valid. Like if we're thinking of national security, all right, the intent, like we're police, letter of the law, intent of the law. So if we're thinking intent of the law, it's to protect our country. So I completely get that. So if you can justify why you're listening to whoever Tucker was talking to, if you can justify that and just happen to come across Tucker's email, that's one thing, right?
Right.
So that's national security. So the question is, at that point, do you still have to go and justify why you now want to follow Tucker's information or invade on all his privacy?
I think you would have to, or they would have to, if they eventually brought a case onto him.
Right. You would
against
think,
him.
right?
Yeah.
But what I was saying is right now, they can go there. They automatically can go there. And why would they need to dig further into all his communications? I don't know. It's like, think about a cartel, like the whole drug bust thing. You get the guy on the street who's selling the dope, or you get the junkie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you're using the junkie to get to the dealer, and then the dealer to get to the supplier. I mean, that's a two hops. So
yeah, if they catch the dealer and they have the dealer's phone and they have access to the phone, any phone number in there via text or telephone call, now you're subject to being part of the investigation.
Sure.
Right.
And at what point does Domino's Pizza, I don't want to plug Domino's, at what point does the pizza company become part of the investigation where now you're investigating the guy who answered the phone at the pizza place and all of his business? At what point does it get to that point?
Well, to me, that's what you call a thorough investigation.
You think so? So,
yeah.
I mean, that could go on for quite a while.
Yeah. I mean, now we are talking about national security, and you just spoke on how it's supposed to be threats from outside the country.
Right.
Right. So we're talking about that. That's why I say I hope they're very thorough.
Right. So you're okay with them having all this stuff, and if they don't find anything, then they shouldn't be acting on it anyway.
Right.
Right. But if they have something political and they want to put it out for political purposes, that's where the problem comes in.
Right. Because it's not, they shouldn't be doing anything, political.
Right. So if it's on the up and up, and if it's all according to a logical investigation process, like you just, explained there, then why would the NSA not just come out and say, yeah, we have your information because we're looking at other sources and you came across?
Sorry, we cannot comment on that. We don't comment on active investigations.
Okay. And I'm even okay with that. But here, yeah. I'll read you their thing. This is from the NSA regarding the allegations. It says, on June 28, 2021, Tucker Carlson alleged that the National Security Agency has been monitoring our electronic communications and is planning to leak them in an attempt to take this show off the air. So he gave a motive and what they were doing, right? Monitoring his electronic communications and then to leak them to get his show off the air. So this allegation is untrue, they said. Tucker Carlson has never been an intelligence target of the agency. So think about that right there. He's never been an intelligence target. What does that mean? Does that mean they're not monitoring it? No.
Right.
And then it says, and the NSA has never had any plans to try to take his program off the air. So that addresses the second part, okay?
Right.
So they said, we're not trying to take him off the air, but he's never been an intelligence target of the agency. So that was their first response. The second part of their response was, NSA has a foreign intelligence mission. We target foreign powers to generate insight on foreign activities that could harm the United States with limited exceptions, e.g. in an emergency. NSA may not target a U.S. citizen without the court order that explicitly authorizes the targeting. So what are they talking about there? What does that sound to you the NSA is talking about?
He's never been targeted? Is that what you're referring to, the first part?
Yeah.
Hey, we never targeted Jim. We targeted Mike. But
Yes.
Jim's phone number just happened to be in his phone, in his address book. So, indirectly you're being targeted, investigated. And I have absolutely no problem with that. Now, as far
Right.
as them speaking on or admitting to it being an active investigation against him, my position is, nah, agencies don't do that. Law enforcement agencies, they don't do that. Because you don't
Yes.
want to, we don't want to, or they don't want to tip the hand of the person that's being investigated.
Right. Okay. So at the end of the day, they're not denying that they have access to his information,
Right.
and they're intentionally not denying it. You're saying.
Yeah, but to your point, you could take Tucker Carlson out and take the part out about the show and put our names in there. It'll be the same result.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
NSA needs to explain that they never targeted me.
I don't think they need to explain that. I don't know why you say they need to explain that. I don't
Well,
get
they
that
they
part.
clearly felt the need to post something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I say need, they felt they needed to, because they could have just let it go, right? They didn't have to make a
Yeah,
response
but
at all.
no, silence is, then you're proving him to be right if you're silent about it, if you don't respond to it. So they had to say something, you know.
And you
So
think that's adequate?
what they
So they
said,
didn't address they had his communications. So they
right?
said it without saying it.
Yeah,
They said basically they did have access to his communications, said it without saying it. So then they're also saying that they definitely were investigating someone he was in contact with.
right.
So they said all that silently, right?
Yep.
So I don't think that's any trickery per se. But why couldn't they just come out and say that?
That's
Say
not
we
what
have
they
no
do.
comment. I mean,
No, because if you say we have no comment, then what you just said was, yeah, we're investigating him. We're not going to tell you anything.
but they are. They admitted they weren't investigating him.
Right.
So like they basically
Directly.
said the comment without saying the comment.
Right.
So
That's
why
why they
couldn't they
say
just say it?
he's never been a target.
Right.
Right. He's never been a target of this agency.
Right.
That's why I say that the target is still could be someone else, but that's
Sure.
someone's through correspondence or whatever. Now they inject Tucker into it because why? He corresponded with the guy or the person, whatever.
Right. So let's take this. I want to go back to the scenario with you because that's more fun. So let's just say, for example, they're investigating, our show, whatever, and they're looking in my emails, and all of a sudden they see I contacted you, right? So then they start looking and monitoring your stuff, and they find out you're at the airport selling bootleg CDs. You
Right?
know, so at what point is it okay for them to go get a warrant or whatever and just arrest you for bootleg CDs when their real goal was to see how you tie into national security?
Well, I don't think they would do that.
You don't think they would do that?
No, that would be stupid.
Okay, so
That would
you're
be
saying
no, that would be stupid for uh, such a high agency to arrest someone for bootleg CDs, unless they were trying to get some information from me or out of me to help support the target, them going after that specific target.
right?
Yeah.
So
Now,
you'd be okay.
if it's proven to be, hey, we don't know why he contacted this guy. This guy he doesn't do anything, right? But sell bootleg CDs and push that off on the local department. See if they want it.
Right, so you're okay with them pushing it down. So now let's go a step further. Let's say they go and find out that pull the pin already. They ain't doing anything threat to national security is no big deal. So now you're going to be okay going to local authorities for a crime that you may have committed under their fruits of the well, I don't want to say poisonous tree because I guess they have the authority to do it.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So let's just say they have an alleged offense. Let's say it wasn't even barely enough evidence to open the case, and now they're finding all these goods on stuff. And let's just say it becomes selective because the government can pick and choose which ones they want to open, right?
Right.
So you're okay with them saying, okay, well, pull the pin already. They probably should be investigated, but this other YouTube channel that obviously just talks that, we're not going to open an investigation on them. Isn't that dangerous?
I don't see the danger, honestly.
No, as long as they
Yeah.
just stop one. All right, as long as there's, it's fine. I mean, if it comes out that something was done wrong and it was justified, I'd be on board with all of it. But I'm afraid if you're using something to justify finding something on somebody you don't like or don't agree with, then that would be a little different. Like what would prompt something for a foreign threat? What would prompt a foreign threat? It could be a tip, right? It could be an anonymous tip, right?
Yeah,
And you're okay them opening up, the NSA opening up on any anonymous tip they take.
they should. That's called thorough investigations.
Right. And no matter where the tip comes from. So if I wanted to open up, let's say, on Hunter Biden,
Right.
right? I got an anonymous tip that there's this laptop out there and it's got some really bad stuff on it. And it should be investigated because he might be in bed with the Russians or the Chinese or whoever. Then you would expect the NSA to start opening up an investigation to look into
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so while searching the laptop, they realized that he's contacted all these people. Then they would be spying on all those people, or at least investigating it, right?
Absolutely.
So I can't wait to see the report and the investigation for that one, because that is a national threat, right?
It could be. Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
I just told you it was. It was. I gave you an anonymous tip. It was. Maybe their findings might lead somewhere else, but the point is, this should be a lot of investigating go on.
And I believe there is, especially after 9/11.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think at some point there's got to be a limit. That's what I'm getting at is like I'm not for it. Like the intent of the law, I get the intent of the law. I'm fully supportive of that. I didn't like the Patriot Act. I didn't realize it was just going to give broad because I mean that's why we have a constitution, right?
Yeah.
So you go to the judge and say, okay, we want to search this guy's property, and the judge can say why? Because we heard this anonymous tip.
Right.
Because he talked to this guy. Okay, well, what did he say to that guy that
Right.
made you think that there's a national threat and he's one of them? What did Mike say
Right.
to Jim to make you think pull the pin already was, you know what I mean?
Well, the investigation doesn't necessarily start as soon as you hang up the phone from the anonymous tip. It's like if you say, hey, like let's use the example you did with Hunter Biden. That person answering the phone is going to ask you some critical questions. Well, at least they should ask you some critical questions. You know what I mean? So that's when the investigation starts, and then they'll determine if it needs to be pushed up higher or this is another prank call or whatever. You know?
So at what point, what I'm saying is at what point in this investigation do I say my contact with Mike James has nothing to do with what we're looking into, but let's check out what Mike's been doing anyway? At what point is that okay? Like I understand if like we remember we used the drug analogy.
Right.
So if like the pizza guy, at what point do we look at the pizza guy and say, okay, there's no evidence in what we see that this guy is doing anything but delivering pizza? Do we still get to search all this guy's stuff to find something that might be tied? Or do we then at that point say we have no proof? Like I'm saying, why isn't every step of the way reevaluated under the same circumstance of what the intent was for?
Who says it's not? I think that's the part where I'm confused.
Well, who says it's not? I don't know.
Right.
If the scenario, I'm not even saying like because the Tucker scenario, I don't know. The fact that they have access to one of his emails doesn't mean anything. It could be one email,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know. And well, I guess the whistleblower must have been the one that told him they were planning to release it. That we'll see. We'll
Right.
see that. And if that's
I doubt they release it now.
well, right, maybe that's why Tucker did it.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying is if that was the case, the whistleblower obviously told him that
Right.
because Tucker could have made that up too, but I don't know, maybe applied. My point was we're talking about the government. We're talking about their ability to spy on us. We're talking about the justification of them spying on us. And you are okay carte blanche, or where does that stop? Where's the line?
No, I did a paper on this. Was it? No, I did. Yeah, I did a paper on it. I believe when I was in college about the Patriot and why I disagreed with it. Now, if you're listening in for, like you say, threats to our from foreign nations or wherever, then okay, all right, got it. But don't come later on. You did the perfect example, and I get arrested for selling bootleg CDs, and your evidence comes from the Patriot Act. Spying on me, listening on phone conversations or whatever, and so you had no probable cause. So the only thing you have is from them listening in, because my name was associated somehow with someone, someone else, and I had nothing to do with that. Nothing. I had no nefarious intentions as far as with the threat to our nation. And now you're just going to get me on bootleg CDs? Nah, I disagree with that.
All right.
100%. Do your
So
investigation. Is either at the end of that investigation for that specific charge, let's call it, it's either going to be founded or unfounded. That's it.
so let's throw a caveat in that scenario. So it's not bootleg CDs. You're a serial killer.
You got to
What
go.
do you do? Let him
You got to go.
go.
You got to go. Now you're talking misdemeanor versus felony, man.
Well, but that's my point. So there is a line there then. So you're saying that if you come across a felony, then you must pursue or at least forward that to an appropriate agency.
Right.
And then the probable cause will still be the Patriot Act.
Right.
So it's not about probable cause, it's
Yeah,
about
because a serial killer is a threat to our nation.
Okay, fair enough. Depends who he's killing, right?
Oh, I was about to make a bad joke. You know how I feel about politicians. I was about to make a bad joke.
Yeah, probably don't, because we don't want them investigating our show,
Yeah.
because then they'll definitely read our emails.
Yeah. They don't have to read it either. Just watch the show. Watch
Right,
the
right.
show. That's it. Click
Well,
like
there might be
and
more. There might be
subscribe.
more in the outtakes, the after party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
that's
I'm
my
going to.
position on it. If he's innocent or innocent, if the charges or the I guess you call it charges or whatever, the reason why they're investigating him is unfounded. All right, it's unfounded. It goes away.
Right.
He should not hear
So
anything about it.
so right. So the part that them not owning that they're looking at is it's not worrisome. They didn't directly say they don't have his stuff, so they're not specifically
I have
lying
no issue
about
with
it.
that.
Right. Because obviously, if they are looking at whoever he was talking to, they don't want to tip it off and blow the whole
Exactly.
case, whatever.
Yeah.
But the part about them exposing it to get him canceled or their show taken down, that's the allegation that they denied.
Right.
So that we'll see as time goes, and that will unfold whether they're lying or not.
Absolutely.
So then, how about just the overall general spying ability? Because they've been accused, the NSA has been accused of data and collection and all that stuff. And here was another thing I thought was interesting too, because they like to say that the NSA is not doing this, right? But they didn't say Mike James, the guy who works in the NSA, isn't doing it. So you can easily say the company's not doing it. The company has no open investigation. But if some rogue employee or some guy who just has the authorization, maybe doing it illegally, and they don't, say anything, that could be true too, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to
Yeah.
deny as a company.
Absolutely. Now, it could have been this anonymous tip that really sparked the investigation.
Sure.
You never know.
Right.
It could be. But nothing's
Well,
happened to him. They're investigating him. He's a public figure. They should investigate him. Same way they should do all the other ones.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the laptop. But that's in the
Yeah,
FBI.
exactly.
That's not in the NSA, right?
You
Not a
don't know
national
that.
threat. It's not
You
a
don't know
national
that. Hunter Biden should come out and say, hey, they're looking into my laptop. Do what Tucker did. Get ahead of it.
But they're not looking into his laptop.
How do you know?
Well, they haven't said anything. You think they're doing it right now behind closed
Well,
doors?
they didn't say anything about Tucker Carlson's emails neither, did they? Until Tucker said something on his show.
It was a whistleblower that told Tucker. Somebody
Yeah, I know,
inside.
but the NSA never addressed it. Just like they never
Sure.
addressed Hunter Biden. So they could be doing something we don't know.
Well, I guess, yeah, you're right, and I guess at the end of the day, for me, it would be the NSA is full of people, and those people could have bias and pick a side and have politics that they support and people they could be
Even
just as
even
corrupt
though
as
they're
anybody.
not supposed to. It's
Right.
kind of like a soldier.
So right. So at the end of the day, I mean, at what point are we? We've already lost faith in the media. At what point are we going to lose faith in our agencies? I mean, if this turns out to be true or not true, I mean, the FBI has already been on the hook for a
Well,
couple.
I'll ask you this: if it turns out to be true, would you be surprised?
No, that's the sad part. The sad
Yeah.
part is
So there's
I
no
really
faith
don't
lost.
trust them. Right.
Yeah,
Good
there's no
point.
faith lost there. I don't have any faith in them. I don't. I don't even care about saying it. So it's not going to surprise me one bit. Is that the battle fatigue?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Oh, you froze.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you froze too. So it must be my internet.
Yeah.
Obviously. So yeah. All right. Well, I guess so. We're content with that. You want to pull the pin on this one?
Yeah, let's pull the pin
We'll
until,
see what
but
comes of it.
yeah, more to follow.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it to see where that's at. As far as them spying on it, as long as it turns out to be for national security and they're not using it in their favor, go for it.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to pull the pin on something? Person of the week,
Yeah.
people of the
Let's
week,
do it.
shout out. What you got?
I have a pull the pin. In a minute, right? Yeah, I want to pull the pin on these idiots out here. There's two sets of idiots. First set is the defund the police idiots. Oh, take their money. Take their money. They're doing bad things out there. Take their money. Don't fund them. You idiot. You idiot. That's the best. That's the only way I could go without using profanity. You idiots. If you defund the police, they're gonna lose manpower. They're gonna have slower response times. Crime rate is gonna go higher. Okay? That's the first idiot. Second idiot, like these law enforcement social media outlets, who every time there's a big fight or any type of crime now, they blame it on defunding the police. You idiot. You idiot. How is it that you had crime before the defunding police act, as I like to call it, started? But what was the problem then? Police were funded. We still had high crime in certain places. So I don't get it. Now you have crime. It's not even, they're just reporting crime, not high crime. So any type of crime that happens in, let's say, one of these areas where they were proponents of defunding the police, they blame the crime on defunding the police. You idiots. And for those of you who support that, I'll say it again. You idiots. There was crime before, there's crime during, and there's going to be crimes after. You idiots. That's why I say pull the pin on it.
So let me just clarify. You are okay with those drastic increases in places of crime?
Prove to me how it's because of defunding the police. Crime is there. Response time, I'll give you that. But crime is there. There was always crime there. Now you think people are literally saying, "Oh, they're defunding the police. Let's go out there and commit more crimes." No, it's stupidity, man. And it's kind of like political.
You're right. We
if
should
you
have
ask
did a
me
whole
also.
show on this because I don't know how it doesn't affect if we don't have enough money to pay enough people to do the policing, or even if the responses are slow. Even if we go with your response time is slow, and there's multiple crimes like in Chicago, and they're already up to what 221 murders this year ahead of last year. Like
Okay, slow down. Last year there
that?
was no defunding the police. Last year there was the number one murder capital, right, in the country, up 150 murders certain part of the year than the previous year. Police were funded. So how can you blame it on defunding the police? It's a bad area. I think Paul said it best.
Okay, that's
thugs
fine.
will be thugs, no matter what.
We could have done a whole episode of this. So what I'm asking is then, if they're really defunding the police, if they are, because certain cities have, then what are you saying is the result of that defunding? Just slower response times?
Yeah, you have less manpower. Because a lot, and it's defunding the police. It's what? It's when the police officers are resigning now in certain areas. They're like, so okay, now you went from having 50 to 30 officers on a particular shift or just a department. So now you're going to have slower response times.
So is Manpower not affiliated to crime prevention, or if a
Yeah,
cop's
of
in the
course.
area?
Okay, you have the
So
thing about the more patrols you have, that acts as a deterrent. Okay, I got that, but you can't. It's hard to prove that. Now, just because
sure.
when did defunding the police start? Was it January 1st, March 1st? When was it? And now, have you checked the crime rate in a
Well, even
particular part of
yeah, even
the
when it
calendar?
started, didn't matter. It's when the money stopped coming in.
Exactly. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, Biden just signed a bill where they're going to get a whole lot more money. Those police departments that lost personnel. So
Right.
what's the issue? That's what I'm saying, man. There's people, and there's so many people, so many thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people who believe that crap. It's like, damn, there was a big bar fight down in Austin. Really? Oh, defund the police. That's why it happened. It's like stupidity, man. It's running rampant around here, and people
Yeah.
believe it. So,
Starts right at the top too. But I'm gonna pull the pin on something just as stupid. I know I spoke in a previous episode about those idiots, because I guess idiot's the theme today. The idiots that put the brake lights on. And
oh
it's funny,
god,
Ryan actually sent me a picture. He ran into one of those guys
yeah,
after
I
that
seen
episode
it.
did. Oh, he showed you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'm gonna go the idiot's brother, who for some reason has the muffler that sounds like a motorcycle.
Oh,
I for the life of me, like, I don't even know. Like, I get the loud music because I understand what music does to you. I get that, you know. I don't understand what the muffler does. And you're talking to a guy who rode a motorcycle. I understand why motorcycles are loud, because people can't see them, can't hear them sometimes. But why would you turn your car into a motorcycle? Why would you think it's cool to drive down the road 11, 12 midnight making all that damn noise? What part of that is cool? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And if you are cool, well, by all means, I'll bow and whatever. I don't know. But to me, it's the stupidest thing in the world, and you sound like an idiot. So, and you're disturbing all the people in your neighborhood who probably already know your name and hate you already. So maybe we need a place for these people besides prison, and they can just go and do their little mufflers and play their little muffler games. I don't know.
hey,
But either way, and if there's a reason for it, do you know any reason why they would do that?
no. Look
But
at me. Look at me. Yeah, that's what I think it is.
I mean, because like I said, I understand why a motorcycle would be
Yeah,
loud.
that made
I
a lot of
understand
sense.
that.
I never thought about that until you just said it.
Yeah, because a lot of guys can't see motorcycles and they can't hear them necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're loud, people are like, at least pause. But a car, I don't understand. I don't understand why a car needs to be loud. At the
Yeah.
drag race, if it does something, so be it. But I talked to a couple guys, mechanics around here. They say it serves no purpose. There's no
Oh
purpose
no, I could have
allowed.
told you that.
Well, yeah, I don't know enough about it. But
Back in the days, you had that on a car. That means you had a hole in your muffler.
right,
Yeah,
right. It means you need to fix your muffler.
exactly.
So if you're one of those idiots, and you're a veteran or not, and you're out there, sorry to call you an idiot, but you're an idiot. Do something else.
Yeah.
You're cool without it, okay, bud? You're cool without it. So we're gonna do away with that. We're gonna do away with these idiots, and we're going to do away with this show because somebody's probably hating on me already. I can feel it. So that is all the time we have for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. Get involved. Go to the website, pullthepinalready.com. Come on our show if you're a veteran. If not, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff. And until then, Godspeed.
Hey, and pull the pin.
Thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin Already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.